What's up, YouTubers? Today we're going to take a look at the Kizer Vanguard Mini Sheepdog. Flipperless. Yes, one of my original problems with the cleavers is that with the flipper in the way, you could only use about half the blade, but now with that flipper gone, you can get the entire blade on a surface if you need to. So that's a great thing. This particular blade comes in with a 2.65-inch blade of 154 cm steel, which is fine as a mid-range steel. It weighs 2.5 ounces and costs about $70 US on Amazon. So yeah, I think it's, you know, a low-budget knife, but fairly useful. In terms of some comparisons of other minis, shall I say in quote, because it kind of comes back to some of the problems I have with this knife. This is the Mini Osborne, which I can fit a full 4 fingers on. Not, you know, a massive amount, but I can. The Hogue Ritter Mini RSK, I can fit 4 full fingers on, and it's a mini. And obviously those have slightly longer blades, so we're dealing with a shorter knife here than those two minis. But those are minis, and those are kind of what I was hoping I would expect there. You know, in terms of some other cleavers, the original cleaver, which fit the hand great, and I loved it, nice tall slicey blade. It absolutely dwarfs this little guy. So I almost want to call this guy a micro. That's the full-size Sheepdog. In terms of an actual use that I found, it was very similar to the CRKT Minimalist, which is a fixed blade, of course. And again, you can only fit 3 fingers, but key bit of information, you have the lanyard hole there, so that actually comes into play. So those might be options that you'd be looking at. For me, I think probably this was the closest one, and that's like about a $32 knife, so 32 versus 70, obviously a little bit different price range, and that you don't have a pivot on that, and it's a fixed blade. So just some options out there. You know, in terms of the pros of this knife, the Kizer micarta and contouring is really, really nice. They actually contoured this one even better than the full-size one, so it does have a nice fit in the hand. Again, it just kind of drops off that last pinky. It does have this landing area that you could kind of use, but go with extreme caution because there's no sort of nubbin or anything that will prevent you from sliding forward. So if it's meant to be used, it's meant to be used with a great deal of conscientiousness and not just kind of slide your hand up there like some knives, which will actually have, like I said, you know, maybe the choil will actually kind of have some sort of blocker. This one does not. So definitely a word of caution on that one. This is a super thin and slicey blade. Let's go ahead and just get out a little bit of piece of cork here. You can very thinly cut some cork. It absolutely just cuts super thin. This is a very thin and great slicey blade. So as far as that goes, and I would expect that with that really tall saber grind there and very thin blade stock. I didn't measure, but it's obviously very thin, and it slices really well. So definitely one of those things. The excellent bearing action with multiple deployments. The finger, the Spidey flick is really the natural. You can go ahead and do the thumb hold too, left-handed. Oops. I'm not the best at the Spidey flick left-handed. But yeah, you can go ahead and deploy it that way. Thumb is actually quite natural left-handed, primarily because the liner, you're essentially releasing it with pressure away from that liner there. So yeah, the thumb deployment left-handed, really, really good. You know, like I said, the bearing action is very good on this. And enough heft in the weight of the blade that it goes down very smoothly. Really good. No blade play. Really nice. The pocket clip worked really well. I went ahead and put that in at the front side montage. Yeah, I was able to do it one-handed, and against this micarta, fantastic. Really, really like that. One of the things that I also put on the front side of this is the micarta comes quite dry, so I actually did oil it up with some mineral oil, and it just takes on a beautiful look. You can kind of take a look at that. It really just gives it a richness to it. Actually gives it better hand feel too, which is true generally speaking with micartas. As it gets wet or even oily, it actually has more grip. So really appreciate that. Like I said, I don't think any lower budget brand does better than Kizer as far as their micarta. And then the nested liners are really, they have some weight relief in them. You can take a look at that. And I always appreciate the nested liners. On this one, I wouldn't mind having a little bit wider, especially on the full size, but this one possibly as well. So they're going for that, and I'm going to give them a plus for nesting those liners in to keep it thin, because that really does help the carry pocket on this, or the pocket carry. And also this one, I will say, with that extra shorter size, it does fit nicely into that fifth pocket of the jeans. So not a bad thing at all. On the cons, there is no left-hand sided clip now. Like I said, the clip worked really well for me one-handed. They could have, I really think they could have done this one. It's essentially a fairly straight. They could have just kind of rounded that out instead of having it canted that one direction there. And really, I think they could have taken care of lefties on this one, especially since, like I said, left-handed, this knife really does work quite well. So a little bit bummer on that. There's no lanyard pin back here. There's no ability to use this barrel spacer either. It's just going to go right into the blade. There's no lanyard hole. And normally I wouldn't care if I can get all 4 fingers, but again, I guess I do have a medium-large hand. I tried this in my wife's hand, and it fit okay. For her, it was kind of trailing off as well. For me, I just can't even... I really can't comfortably get the 4th finger on there. So I really wish, and I would have appreciated that. In terms of kind of a sample of that, you know, this is a tiny blade here. This is the Spyderco Man Bug. But in this one, because it does have a lanyard hole, I actually feel much more secure in that grip. If I were like to have to cut through some boxes, like a whole bunch, let's say, I would actually prefer this tiny little knife. Just because of getting that full hand grip, you can actually do a lot with that. So I think if you're going to go with really tall, or really small rather, I really like micro. From my perspective, give a lanyard hole capability. And again, I'm going to complain a little bit about there's no uncoated blade option. It's a cleaver, right? You know, one blade I did not bring out as a comparison because it's obviously kind of ridiculous. But a cleaver, this is a proper kitchen cleaver. That's basically meant for kitchen use. And, you know, those are made out of stainless steel. 154 cm is plenty fine in stainless, but they don't have a non-coated blade option. So you're going to be getting some of this junk off. It's just going to be micro amounts of carbon or whatever goes into the, you know, titanium nitrate. I don't know. Whatever goes into that black coating, but it is going to have that. And for a food knife, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Overall, for me, this is definitely more of a novelty knife for collectors, maybe who like Chris Conaway or Kizer knives. You know, it's also for really small hands. My hand, it just doesn't fit. So this is, for me, a definite future giveaway. Hopefully you found this video of use, and if you did, like and subscribe, and maybe we can get me to 1,000 subscribers someday, and I'll give this knife away as part of a whole bunch. So hope you did enjoy it. Again, take care. Bye.